Welcome to the 53rd lecture on computational mathematics with Sage Math. In this lecture, we will look at RK4 method for solving system of first order ordinary differential equations. So, let us look at what we want to do. We want to solve a system of first order ODEs of the form this. So, what are these equations? X1 dash is equal to F1 T x1 x2 xn, x2 dash is F2 of T x1 x2 xn, and Fn dash is Fn T x1 x2 xn, and this F1 F2 Fn need not be linear functions. And with the initial condition x1 at 0 is x1 0 and so on. This set of equations you can write in a single equation, that is x dash t is equal to f t x, and x at 0 is x 0, and where x t is a vector x1 t x2 t dot 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 xn t. Similarly, f t x will also be a vector of vector whose first coordinate is f1 tx, f2 tx and so on, right, and this is the initial condition. So, this can be thought of as vector equation, right. Now, let us look at an example where we come across such a system. So, one of the example that we will be looking at is predator prey, which is known as Lotka-Volterra model. This is very popular dynamical system model. So, let us say what is it? It is represented by dx by dt as alpha x minus beta xy, d by dt is equal to delta xy minus gamma y, where x is number of preys at time t and y is number of predators at time t. So, for example, you can think of preys as let us say rabbits and predators as foxes. So, foxes and rabbits, this particular system represents this growth of these two species together, namely rabbit and foxes. So, and here alpha, beta, gamma, delta are parameters, they are positive constants. So, you can see here, for example, here alpha is growth rate of prey, and in absence of this term, for example, dx by dt will be alpha x, that is same as saying this alpha, that is the preys grows exponentially in absence of predators. So, assuming that there are enough grass and other things etc. available, so this growth is exponential. However, in presence of this predator, this is the shrinkage rate of shrinkage relative to the product of the population sizes, right. Similarly, d by dt is delta xy plus gamma y. So, this gamma is known as the shrinkage rate of the predator population in absence of for example, the preys, this population will come down, and in case this preys population is present, then this will be the rate at which it grows, right. So, this particular two equations in two variables x and y, and you can see here this is a non-linear differential equations. So, we want to solve this system and using RK4 method. So, this particular model was developed actually independently by two mathematicians, Alfred Lotka and Vito-Volterra, Lotka in 1925 and Volterra in 1926, right. Now, let us look at how we will make user defined function for this particular problem. So, first let us import numpy as np. We will write user defined function basically as a Python program, and then let us first define this Volterra function, which is going to be a array representing the right hand side of this particular system of differential equations, right. So, let us give input as x and that x is the variables x1 x2 and parameters will be as a dictionary form where this is alpha beta gamma delta, this parameter will be given in as a dictionary. So, alpha is equal to parameters in the square bracket, right, alpha and so on. So, this is the model, right. Now, let us write this RK4 method. So, we have already seen how to write this user defined function for RK4 method in case you have only one equation. Now, you have two equations for example in this case. So, these K1, K2, K3, K4 in RK4 method have to be computed for each of this equation, that is what we have to do. And in general, for example, this program is a generic program where x could be any number of variables, f could be as many as this number of coordinates in x, right. So, here we are giving the input f, namely the right hand side of the x dash is equal to f t x, and x naught is the initial condition, t naught is the starting time, t1 is the end time, that is final time, and dt is the step length in terms of time. So, let us first make t as the array going from t naught to t1 plus dt with step length dt. Here we are taking t1 plus dt because the last end time should also be at which we want to evaluate these x, and the number of points or node points in this we will call as nt, and nx is the size of this x, which is the variables, number of variables. In this case it will be 2, and let us initialize x as first 0 vector, 0 matrix of size nx cross nt. So, number of nx is in this case 2, nt will be the number of node points. So, at so many node points you have to evaluate, right, and initialize x as x0. This is the all rows and first column of x is initialized as x0, namely whatever is the initial population of rabbits and foxes in this case. So, this is quite exactly similar, except that we are replacing this k1, k2, k3, k4 as a vector function. So, it is dt, in earlier it was h times f of tk and at x all the rows and kth column. Similarly, k2, k3, k4, and then define dx, that is next iterate which is k1 plus 2 times k2 plus 2 times k3 plus k4 divided by 6, and then increment x to the next point, that is k plus 1. So, here this is x all the rows and next column will be initialized as this plus dx, right. So, that is this is how we can write this RK4 system of RK4 system for solving system of first order differential equations, right. Now, let us let us first run this, and then let us now define the parameters. So, we are taking the parameters alpha is equal to 0.4, beta is equal to 0.4, delta is equal to 0.09, and gamma is equal to 2, and f is the lambda function defined over Tx of Lotka-Volterra x with parameters. Then initialize x naught, which is the initial population of the preys and predators. So, let us say there are 20 preys and 10 predators to begin with. T naught is 0, that is initial time, T1 is let us say 100, that is the end time, and dt, the step length is 0.1. So, let us run this, and now let us call this RK4 underscore system which we have created. So, and since it will give you two outputs, one is x, which is the x1, x2, xn at time t, and also the time with the step length delta t, right. So, let us run this, and once we have run this, then now let us try to plot, let us try to visualize the growth of each of these species, namely the prey and predator. In this case we are considering rabbits and foxes. So, for example, let us import first of all pie plot from matplotlib as plt, and first let us plot the preys in red color. So, it is plotted against time, and x0 colon, that is all the zeroth row, that is the first variable, and all the columns that is for each time you are considering. Similarly, plot the predator and then label the x axis as time, and also plot the legend, that means it will show the name of the each curve. Let us plot and see how they look like. So, this red one is the prey and blue one is the predator. So, as you can see here, whenever there is a growth in the preys, the predator also grows, and once the prey's population comes down, the predator population also comes down. So, that is what you expect, right. And let us plot both these together, that will give you interaction between the two species, namely prey and predator. So, this is how it looks like. You can do it with different initial guess and different parameters, right. Now, let us look at the solution of the same problem using SEIR inbuilt function DE solve underscore system RK4. So, as I mentioned earlier, SEIR also has an inbuilt function for solving this system of first order differential equations using RK4 method. So, let us use that. So, we will define x, y, t as variables. Instead of calling x1 x2, we are calling now x y t, and alpha beta gamma are taken as 0.4, 0.42 and 0.09 alpha beta gamma delta, and then let us call this p DE solve underscore system RK4, and we need to give the set of equations. So, as a list. So, this is the first equation, namely dx by dt, the right hand side of that, and this is the right hand side of dy dt, and we are solving with respect to variables x and y. Initial conditions are 20, 5. So, 20 rabbits and 5 foxes, and beginning time is 0, by default beginning time is 0, and the step length is 0.01, which is quite small. So, if you want, you can make it 0.1, and yeah. So, let us run this. It may take few seconds, and once we have obtained this, then we can plot graph of growth of predator and prey separately, both together in fact, and then also the interaction between the two, right. So, let us just wait for a second. It is still computing. Okay, it has done the computation. Now, let us look at how we are going to plot. So, let us store the preys as list of x j, list of I comma j, where I j k will vary in p. So, if you look at p actually is going to give you the xi value of preys, yi values of predator, and the t values, right. So, that is why it will give you 3 components as a list of 3 components. So, it will be a list of 3 real numbers. Okay, if you want, you can just see here. So, let me run this separately. So, p comma, let us say p of 2. So, p of 2, you can see here, this is a 3 elements, right. And similarly, store the predator, and then the interaction term will be in terms of j k, and then plot the prey and predator plot, and this we are using list plot. So, list of points you are plotting, and then we are showing these two together, right. So, this is how it looks like. and that is why in case we make this step size very small, then it will look much better. Of course, it will take more time to solve, but let us just wait. We have decreased. Okay, now it has done. So generally when you are running this first time, it will take little more time, and next time it becomes faster. So now when you plot, it is almost like a curve. So again you can see here, when the prey population grows, the predator population also grows, and vice versa, right. And let us plot the interaction between the two. So when you plot the interaction between two, this is how it looks like. This is exactly same as how we obtain the solution using our inbuilt function RK4 system. And you can explore with the different parameters. Now for example, let us take alpha to be 1, beta to be 0.2, gamma to be 0.5, and delta to be 0.2, and then when you try to plot all this together, then again, right. So this is how it looks like now, and this is the one. So you can look at what is effect of these parameters on population of, or the growth of predator and prey, right, by exploring the different populations, different parameters. Okay, now let us look at one more problem. This is what is called epidemic model, SEIR epidemic model, and actually we are at present in this unfortunate pandemic situation of this COVID-19, and if you try to just Google search pandemic models, or let us say COVID pandemic models, you will get lots of mathematical models, and one of them is SEIR. There are several of them. So let us look at how we can explore this particular model. So how is this model defined? This is actually SEIR stands for, S stands for susceptible, E exposed, I is infectious, and R is recovered. So here the death is not taken into consideration, right. So this is a system of 4 first order equations, non-linear equations. So ds by dt, that is the susceptible rate of increase of susceptible patient, is given by minus beta times st it, where beta is the contact or infection rate of the disease. De by dt is given by beta st it minus sigma et. Here sigma is the transition rate or incubation rate, right, and di by dt is sigma et minus gamma of it, where gamma is given by, it is called the mean recovery rate. So these parameters beta, sigma and gamma governs this particular system of equations, which tells you how this susceptible patient exposed to this disease, infectious and recovery takes place. So let us look at how we can program this in order to basically visualize the solution of this particular model, right. So we are making a user defined function, namely is SEIR underscore model, and we are giving initial population of population, that is initialize S, E, I and capital R, and also define the end time. So beginning time will always be 0. You can mention beginning time also, and we are taking beta to be 2 to the power 2 upon 10 to the power minus 6, which is very small, gamma 1 by 14, sigma 1 by 10, or if you want you can just change and take the different colors. So there will be 4 plots. So these 4 plots are in different colors, and this is the thickness of the curve. And now let us define the variable T, S, E, I, R as variables, and then define the system. So it will be a list of 4 coordinates. So first coordinate is the right hand side of ds by dt, second coordinate is right hand side of di by de by dt, third is the right hand side of di by dt, and the last one is dr by dt. right. So now let us make use of inbuilt function D is solve underscore system RK4 and then solve this system which we have defined with respect to SEIR, and then this is the initial condition, initial variable is T, initial condition is 0 and so this is the initial S is 0, E initial condition at 0 is S initial, E initial, I initial and R initial, and step length let us do it per day for example, and then n time is n time, right, and then each one you are just plotting. So what we are going to do, and this particular when you solve this P will have now will have 4 coordinates namely S, E, I, R and of course T will also be there. So let us plot this first one as a line in terms of time and S time, and the time is going to be the first coordinate in this P. So time S, E, I, R will be the value of each element in the list, right, and then the line star similarly plot the E, plot I and plot R. So this is fairly simple model. I could have written some explanation here, right, but let me just once again show you this model, right. Now let me run this. So once you have run this then next we can now plot. So let us call this SEIR model with initial population 40,000 and this E is the exposed one what 10,000, this is this is I which is the infected ones which is 4,000, and this is the R which is the recovered 2,500 and over the period of 200 days. So when you plot this, this is what you get. So let me make it slightly small so that you can see the entire curve. So you can see here this red one is susceptible, E is exposed, that is green one is exposed, and this is the infected one, the blue one is been infected, and this is the recovery, this is the recovered one. So you can see here the beginning the recovery is small and slowly it goes up, and then slowly everybody gets recovered, and in this case this is the susceptible ones. Initially everybody is susceptible, and then slowly it goes down and it stabilizes after some time, right. So this is the plot of this solution of this particular SEIR pandemic model. Now you can try with let us say different parameters. So for example, let us take initial population, what 99% population is let us say infected, and only 0.1 that is 1% are exposed to this virus, and 0 infected, 0 recovered to begin with, and over the period of 60 days, and start with beta is equal to 1, sigma is equal to 1 and gamma is equal to 0.1, and then if you look at the solution curve, this is how it looks like. So let me again maybe we can reduce the figure size. Let me say show this, and fig size is equal to let us say 4, it should work, yeah. So now you can see here with 1% population exposed, you can see here what is happening is the infection grows quite rapidly, but then it follows this Gaussian curvature, Gaussian distribution, and then it goes down and slowly it becomes 0, right. So that is how you can visualize this. You can also look at what happens when you change these parameters, and just look at the effect of these parameters on exposed and infected individuals. So, how do we do that? So, again the same user defined function. In this case we have just plotted only the exposed one and the infected ones. Apart from that everything is actually the same, and we have taken this beta to be 1, sigma to be 1 and gamma to be 0.1. So, this is quite easy. You could what possibly we can do is we can take 4 outputs, plot of E, plot of I, plot of R and plot of S separately, and then we can combine together. That can also be done. But in any case, let us see when first let me run this, and after that let me call this with the default initial guess and parameters. So, this is how you can let me again show this with fig size is equal to 4. Yeah. So, then you can see here now this is the how the exposed and infected individuals look like under this default parameter, namely beta equal to 1, gamma equal to 0.1 and delta equal and sigma equal to 1. If you try to change this parameter, so for example, if I plot this for beta equal to 0.5 and still other gamma and delta will be default 1, and then the plot will be different. So, now you can see it is a kind of more flat than the previous one. If I further reduce, for example, make it 0.3, it will be even the flatter, right. So, this is how this beta has effect on exposed and infected individual. Similarly, you can try with other parameters. For example, if you change or reduce this gamma and then look at the plot, this is how it looks like. If I reduce further, for example, if I make it 0.2, then you can see this is how it looks like, and so on. Similarly, we can look at how this sigma changes this output. So, when I reduce sigma to 0.5, this is how it looks like. If I reduce further, or let me increase it, if I say 0.8, then this is how it looks like. If I reduce to 0.2, then this is how it looks like. So, you can explore these effect of these parameters on each of these kind of variables, 4 variables: exposed, infected, and recovered, and the susceptible, right. So, you can do this experiment, try to see these effect and analyze accordingly, right. You can as I said, if you just Google search on COVID-19 epidemic model, you will get tons of actually references, papers, but you can look at one of them as a simulation of COVID-19 epidemic based on deterministic SEIR model by these 4 people. This is basically done for I think data obtained from Italy, right. You can also look at this GitHub page where a Python program is written for again for these different models, right. So, let me leave you these 2 explorations. So, try to explore this Lotka-Volterra population model for 3 species. For example, you can refer to this particular website in which this particular model is given for 3 species, and then you can also explore this SI model and SIR model, epidemic models. There are many other models, but try to at least explore these 2 models. So, what we have explored is the third in this series, SI, SIR and SEIR, right. So, thank you very much. We will look at how to solve differential equations with initial conditions using Laplace transform in the next class.